Hey everyone, okay, so today we're going to be doing a very dogmatic approach to eyeshadow. Now, makeup is about having fun and all that kind of stuff and doing whatever you like, but humour me with this video. Imagine that everything I'm saying is set in stone and you must follow it accurately. Once you've learned the basics, you of course can do what you want. So today we are going to sculpt an eye. Now I'm going to use this palette here, which is actually by Hindish, and it is the Butopsy palette, Butopsy, I apologise. And we're going to use this palette. So with this look, our goal is to sculpt the eye. Very simple and very complicated all at the same time. So what I'm going to do first is just prime the eye. Now I want to use a light shade, so I'm just going to use this one here, and I'm just going to kind of just all over the eye, just as a sort of a wash of colour, nothing particularly dramatic. And I'm going brow bone all the way in, lash line, everywhere, just to add a little bit of clarity to the eye and brighten it up. I want to save the lighter shade for other parts of the face. That's why I used a kind of medium sort of tone one. I'm going to zoom in here. Oh, I've got a little patch of gorgeous dry skin there. That's what happens when you get chetinoin around that area. It's not happy. So there's three parts to an eye. There is the light shade, there is the contour shade, the mid-tone, I apologize, and there is the contour shade. So there's light, medium, dark, or your highlight, your mid-tone, and your contour. So I want to start with a highlight shade. So I'm taking the white shade here from the palette, and I'm just going to take that, get a mirror that I can see in, and I'm going to apply this to the eyelid. Now, if you have eyelid, apply it there. If you have none, do not apply it. Only apply it to the inner corner. Apply highlight only where there is light, or where there is lid space, should I say. If you don't have any, then don't apply it. Now I'm going to take whatever's left on the back, and I'm just going to kind of apply it to the brow bone, right here. But I'm going to take my middle finger, and I'm just going to just lightly sort of mold it into the skin, or press it into the skin. I don't want it to be too light, because it can look a bit stark. So that's the highlight shade taken care of. Now this is going to sound arse backwards to a lot of people, but when you have problematic eyes, and what I mean by that is, you know if you've got a problematic eye because you find it difficult to do eyeshadow on. Without there being any mascara or lashes on, it can be very difficult to get a focal point, and we definitely need a focal point. So what I'm going to do is put some lashes on. This will instantly transform the look, but give me a focal point. Okay, so I've got some lashes on here. So you could already see it's made a big difference, but this gives me a guideline, which I desperately need. Now, with these lashes here that I've applied, I don't actually have enough lashes here to adhere another lash. So I'm going to have to take a darker shadow and just add in, just very lightly, a little bit of dark shadow, just to kind of tie in the lashes with the kind of area that doesn't have them. So next up is the most complicated of all the shades, which is the mid-tone. Now a mid-tone color for this purpose should be cool in tone, it should have a cool undertone, but it shouldn't be dark. This color must not be dark. It must be a shade or two deeper than your complexion. If it's too dark, it stops shaping the eye and becomes an eyeshadow. And what we want is for it to shape the eye. So I'm going to take this color here, which is called Real, and I'm just going to take this on the brush and hope for the best. I'm going to take a tissue and I'm going to place it on the outside corner of my eyebrow and at the lower lash line area. With my eye closed, I'm going to take this into the crease of the eye and it's going to greet that highlight shade, and then I'm going to bring it all the way in to the bridge of my nose. Now I'm bringing it all the way in. If you have very close set eyes, don't. I'm knocking off any excess on the brush, and I'm bringing this colour up to the middle of my eyelid, the middle of my eye. I want to get rid of all of this skin here. I want to shape all of this area. I'm also bringing it up into the eyebrow, back and forward, and then bring it onto the outside corner of the eyelid as well. Back and forward, and I'm bringing it up because I've got this vein that travels through my eyelid here, which kind of gives me this extra crease, and I've also got the same vein here, so I want to just try and push them away as much as I can. So when you take this away, what you should be left with is a subtle shadow. It should look more or less like a shadow, like it's a little bit darker. The biggest mistake I see people make is that they go too dark here and it stops shaping the eye and starts to become, you know, just a dark eyeshadow. And we just want the subtleness of the shape. So I'm just going to go back in with this light eyeshadow and just reintroduce it to this inner corner because I want this area to be brighter. This won't stay a completely matte look, but for the time being it will. I'm now going to take my contour shade, which is the deepest of the two. I'm actually going to take this kind of orange and I'm going to mix it with this warm brown as well. And what I'm going to do is take that exact same tissue, I'm just going to fold it in half, and I'm going to place it on the outside corner of my brow, on the lower lash line, and I'm just going to stamp it on this outside corner of the eye only. And this is going to be an area where people go wrong. So I'm stamping it on the outside corner of the eye. And what can happen is you will go in with a crease brush and you'll do it here and it enters the crease. We don't want to enter the crease at this particular time. You will be in a second, but by choice. We want it to be by choice. So place this back and just on that outside corner, just place the deepest colour on the eyelid only. Now if you have a very hooded eye, you may not have any lid space. So what I suggest you do is just mark it out very slightly wherever it seems most appropriate. So that's the colour. Now I'm going to take a blending brush and I'm just going to knock it off because this is what I used for the all over colour. And I want you to blend this lower colour across the lid, but then up into this outside crease. That's the only time you're bringing the colour up, is with blending. You're not using it directly. And what that's going to do is it's very subtly pushing the colour up here, but really subtly because we don't want it to be extreme. Now what we're going to do is further contour this outside corner. So I'm going more in the middle here, but this time we're going to stay on the lid and we're going to keep it to the lid. So you're placing it back, and this time you're stamping the lid only on this outside corner. And now you're taking your blending brush, but this time you're staying on only eyelid. You're not bringing it up into the crease. And just blend until you think it's blended. Some eyeshadows take time, others are very simple. And just blend. So can you see this kind of melody of colour that's happening here? It's just there, it's coming up into the crease, but it's not too extreme. So you've still got that shaping going on here, and then you've just blended it onto the rest of the eyelid. Now, what I want you to do now is just take a little bit of that shade, just a tiny bit, and I just want you with your eyes closed to just very subtly just drag it along the lash line a little bit. It's just so that it doesn't just stop with colour here. It kind of gradually sort of blends out, if that makes sense. You don't want it to just colour, stop. You want it to just be a kind of melody of colours. So now that we've done that, and we can stop here. This is a great shaped eye. It's very Kevin O'Quarrie. It's very Wade Bandy. I'm actually going to show you his technique for eyes because it's very cool. But it's just too matte for me. I need to add something here that's going to pop it. So I'm going to take this little jar of gorgeousness, which is by Bodyography, and I'm going to use Stratus. And this is just going to look lovely. I think this will look very beautiful. I'm going to take my finger. I'm going to make sure that there's not too much. And I'm going to press it here. Just here in the center and inner corner. I'm going to take off anything that's on my finger. Just very lightly. Just look, it just instantly transforms the eye and makes it just more fun, a bit more gorgeous and glamorous and just lovely. It gives the eye this incredible sort of sparkle to it. I'm going to actually use another one as well. Don't know what color this is, but we're going to add a touch of it regardless. But I love it. I love the entire matte eye, and then there's just this hint of sparkle, so that when you move your eye, you blink, you get this hint of it, but you're not taking away from this shaping that's going on around the eye. Now, the way that I use my tissue, so I angled it on the outside corner of the eyebrow right up to the lower lash line. Now this means that I can't join it. If you wanted to join this shadow under, what you would do is not place the tissue here. You would place the tissue here, exposing this outside corner of the eye. Now you could get in there and join it up and create, you know, the full look. But I didn't want to. Another thing to bear in mind when you're applying lashes, and I don't know if this is going to translate into camera until I'm editing, but when I look at myself in the mirror here, I can see a shadow here that didn't exist before. Now that's my own fault, and it's my own haphazardness about how I did the lashes. This final lash here, I should have moved it in slightly. It should have started a bit more in, because it's creating a shadow here, and even if I put extra concealer here, it's just the shadow from the lash. So you need to be careful when you're applying your lashes that you don't apply them too far down, because they can pull the eye down, and that's not the goal. The goal is to lift it. So all I'm going to do is just sharpen up the edge, and then we're done. And that's it. That's it. You're done. Now you could do this once you know how to do this. You could do this technique 4 minutes perhaps on each eye. But I want to kind of just reiterate what we did here. So we had the light color on the lid, which was matte. And we've got the light color here at the brow bone. But we used a mid-tone shade here. And can you see how I carved out this area by going up here? So starting here, but then moving it up into this area and curving it so that it meets the nose. So we could contour this now and it would join, but you get this great kind of contoured effect here. Now granted, it doesn't suit everybody. If you've got very close set eyes, it's going to be a bit extreme, but for normal space or wide spaced eyes, it works great. It gives this contoured effect to the eye. We've got our pop of color, which is this outside corner. I'm going to give that another blend. And that's where the kind of subtlety. Now, I use browns. You could use purple here. You could use blue here. You could use green, whatever you wanted. The general reference is that this outside corner is the darkest of everything you've used, or the brightest, so that it stands out. But you want it to just, it gives that seductive look by just being on the outside corner, by not being all the way up here, but just that outside corner. You get that kind of slightly more seductive look to the eye. And once you've learned this technique and you've got it down pat, which can take a while, then you're free to do whatever you want. You can alter it however you see fit. But for me, using a dogmatic approach to this works really, really well. Thanks for watching. I really appreciate your time. I hope you like this tutorial, and I'll see you all soon. Bye-bye.